Michigan. I do not have my normal set. I'm sorry if I sound crappy. I have been struggling with a microphone to get it to work, but that's all right. We're not here for my tech. We are here for the woman of the hour, Harmony Ginger, and her what just happened. My whole screen went black.
Everything.
Oh
no!
Oh,
I'm back.
yeah,
Okay.
Scott.
And we're off.
And we're off.
No, we're still going. Nothing's off. Everything still works. There's no crying in baseball. I'm doing the Mike Wazowski meme with my Eevee monkey. Am I like
Oh,
super
yeah.
robot
Yeah,
voice?
you're kind of blocked by the icon, aren't you?
All right. Anywho, uh, Harmony Ginger, a long time ago, Alchemic Raker just tossed off a tweet. You should probably start a campaign with the Godstein, and you were like, challenge accepted, and you put together like not only a super fun Godstein that I had on my show, and some of you guys are rejoining from that. But it was super influential, inspired a lot of people, brought a lot of attention, brought a lot of people into the hobby and stuff, and it was going great. It seems like your players enjoyed it. Was it a year? Did you guys make it a year on that thing?
Yeah, it was about a year and a couple months.
Okay, so over a year. Let me get out of the way. And then you're like, you know what? We're going to pull the plug and we're going to hit the reset button and start all over. And you didn't lose all your players. In fact, you gained more. So tell us a little bit about how you broke the news to your players that you were going to do this. And then maybe some of the players that were there for both can weigh in on how you felt. Were you ready? Were you not ready? How did that go? I'll start with Harmony, and then she gets to pick who talks next.
Okay, so I made a horrible mistake, and I did this like really, really badly, I think, because what I did was we were working on the old campaign, and we were like, just going along on that. And I was like, man, I wish we could do the world generation again with like everybody, since the group has expanded so much. I wish we could like include everybody in it and do it like as a complete 4X game. And people were like, yeah, it sounds good. I don't know if they were humoring me or what.
Time out.
But
Time out. Second. For those that may be wondering, what do you mean when you say a 4X game?
4X.
Is this like some kind of like exchange trading finance thing, or?
No, so it's a tabletop game term, I think, or it's also in video games, but it's explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. It's like Civilization, Twilight Imperium, games like that, basically. I think Dunder's having issues. So anyway, I like told the players, it'd be cool if we just like fleshed out a 4X game and just did the world generation like that, and then kept it going and see where it went from there.
Sorry, this is so ratchet, but I noticed that I was, not that anyone could see my face anyway with this big friggin' logo in the way, but I noticed I was looking down at you guys, and so the camera, I was looking really shy, bashful, and retiring. So I thought if I just stacked a bunch of crap under my laptop, it might be a little bit closer to eye level with the camera. So I'll just try not to focus it on my man boob, and you keep going.
Okay. So I kind of threw that out to them, and the response was like mostly positive. But what happened to our old campaign is people were like talking about what they wanted to do for the next one, and what god domains they hope they got, and what their chosen people would be. Like, people were already saying, I hope I can do elves, or I would really like to do hobbits for the next campaign. And like, people started talking about it so much, I realized, I have to get this off the ground, because people's minds are already on it. They're like tuning out of what's happening because they want to do this world generation again. So I spent some time, wrote up a rule set. I think it worked pretty well. I think the rule set was decent. I actually took a lot of inspiration from Doomstone Crom. He's not here, is he? No, I don't see him in the chat. But I took a lot of inspiration from not only Alchemic Raker's original tweet, but Doomstone Crom, because he had this... he ran this Bronstein and like Amber Diceless.
Yeah.
And he showed what you could do with the Amber Diceless system. And so I took that from him and was like, I think we can take this a little bit further. And so I retooled it and I added dice and removed amber. So it is now amberless dice.
Yeah, amberless dice.
So, yeah. So I kind of, but see, the only thing I really took from that was the bidding and the attributes. So what happened was for the combat, we had like, everybody had 4 different stats. It was warfare, psyche, creation, and magic. And they all had points that they could bid blindly on each of the stats. We did blind bidding. And
Okay.
they bid on that and a bunch of abilities that I wrote. And then basically they were ranked based on their bids. So they would have like 1 through 15 on each of the abilities. Someone was 1, someone was 15. And basically they didn't know what anybody else's stats were. They only knew their own. So they would they would find out like kind of when the clashes started to happen, because when they would happen, it would be like 1-on-1 and you'd roll a d6, add it to your ability score, and then only compare the final numbers. So you'd kind of know where someone was, but not quite. So like that's kind of how we did the combat. It was fairly straightforward, I think. But yeah, so we had everyone chose 2 domains. We did a domain draft. There were like 30 some domains. I can't remember
So
exactly
this
how much.
was something you carried over from the first Godstein,
Dunder.
right?
You're so
Yeah.
loud.
Dunder, I think your mic switched. 'Cause-
It sounds
Yeah,
like you're in a
you're-
balloon.
Right.
Dunder.
Yeah, it was loud. It was loud and
Yeah.
like fuzzy.
I feel
Yeah.
like I need a T-shirt that just says, I feel like I'm being distracting. Because it's like my go-to
Okay.
line on random tables. Am I
Um,
still just blowing it out?
That is
no,
better.
You're good now.
you're
I
good.
have audio garlic breath.
Oh, I hate
Television.
it.
So
Smell-o-vision.
the domains were carried over from the last one, but we added about 10 of them and just had everybody pick 2 in a draft order, and then they just made their gods based on that. Each domain had a power associated with it, so everyone had something special they could do. And they kind of made their gods with like 2 domains smashed together, plus their attributes that they spent however they wanted. And then I just kind of let them go. I made a world map and told them, you can terraform this many tiles. It's dependent on your creation score, and then like put your starting settlement where you want. And it went pretty well. Like at the beginning, I think people didn't know what they were doing. The first couple rounds were very standard, people expanding, and then the Halfling War started, which I'll let somebody else explain the Halfling War when we get there. But it was it was wild. There was blood this time. Like last time, the big problem with it was people were too nice. People were afraid to fight. This time we had a player just get wiped off the map. We had players that were getting like there was like terrorism. There was like it was insane. I can say that on YouTube, right? That's
I feel like I need to whisper so I don't blow everyone's eardrums out.
Okay.
That's a reasonable volume.
Don't laugh, whatever you do.
I'm so bad at
Oh.
YouTube.
I should say I have to give people this context. This has nothing to do with the game, by the way. I told everyone when I was getting ready for the stream, I was like, I need to change shirts because I don't want to show any cleavage on YouTube. And so so that's why all of them are wearing button-up shirts and showing as much cleavage as possible. So.
Hey, I put a suit on too.
So that's why that happened. I feel like I should say that.
I appreciate it from you. I'm not so sure about them. I guess it's all just engagement, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Pepper is just rocking it with the deep V right there.
Absolutely.
Deep.
I got to give the people what they want.
I know I couldn't compete, so I put on a suit jacket.
No, but that's what happened, and that's why
My
the
audio
dress
pushes
code-
them away. Beber's chest just brings them right back in.
That's why the dress code happened this way. Anyway.
I feel like this episode smells like Brute.
Oh,
Oh, Dunder.
oh
But yeah,
Okay.
dear.
Anyway,
I hope that answered your question.
how's my level now? Do I still sound awful? Am I super loud?
You sound perfect.
You're
right
not
now.
loud.
No,
Okay.
sounds
I don't know
good.
when it's gonna do that or when it's not.
Yeah, just don't yell.
He
They're
wants to
straight.
now.
So
Don't tell me what to do.
let's go around the room. How did you guys feel? It sounds like the players were ready for a reset. Because, like, once the world creation, terraforming stuff was over and, like, the campaign had started, there might have been a little bit of nostalgia for the early days, yeah? So, start with you, Alex. Were you part of the old one? Did you get looped in on the new one? What was your take on all this?
I got looped into the previous one later in the game, but I did get the chance to create a god based on what was left, and not as much world influence this time around, the first time. But I was very excited to be a part of this from the get-go with everybody, doing the full world creation, character creation, being involved in whole lore setup for the history for this world. It was just an ecstatic time to play. It was very, very fun.
Right on. Okay, Christian, you're up next. Same question.
I want to say I joined the last campaign 3/4 of the way through.
Okay.
So I did get to create a god, and I did have like a favorite people, but no one ever went to any of them.
They existed. That's all that matters.
Yeah, they existed apparently. No one.
They were there. They were there when if they were ever needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. How about it, Noella? You're next on my screen.
So I was kind of like the first person that was pulled into the first game. So I was
Okay.
kind of like the test introduction god. And they needed something to fill its niche, and I filled that niche. So I was there from mostly the beginning, and I had some influence to the world, but not like world generation wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a DM for a little bit of there, so I did also have that kind of influence there, so I could set some things up. But the new game is definitely something that draws everybody in because they have that influence. Again, pretty much most people were excited about it.
Right on. All right, Jaden, next. Same question. Old game, new game. Happy to start. Bummed that the other one was ending.
I was there at the beginning of the last one, and man, I was just geared up to declare war when we swapped games. I was finally doing the thing with the arachno-capitalists where I invade the gnomes. They've had it too good for too long. But no, it was very fun to switch games, especially now that we have 14 people at the start instead of 6. There was a lot more interaction. People weren't as afraid to be the bad guy like the first time, because I think the first time around, the problem with being the bad guy is there were like 6 people. So then you have everyone against you, and that just doesn't work as well. But in the new one, with 14 people, we had, well, an entire civilization got wiped out once. We had halflings doing their thing. It was a lot more interactive the second time around. I think that made it better.
Yeah, so Jay Letourneau was on my show, and I can't remember if it was. These things are hard. You never remember what happened before the show, what happened on air, and what happened as a discussion after the show, right? But at one point, we were talking about how many people it takes for a good Steen. And, he had like a Venn diagram with the circles and like the overlapping. And seems like the more that you have, the more convergences can occur. When it's 6 people, that's almost like a knife fight in a phone booth, right? Like everybody's just at each other's throats from the get-go. But at 15, it seems like you might be able to start making alliances and say, all right, well, you and I don't have to fight. We can be against this other guy, and then both of you thinking, I'm going to betray them later. How did that change the dynamic, just having the different amount of people?
You're asking me to continue?
I'm asking you to continue, or you can throw it to Luke if you want.
Yeah. Who else? Pepper, were you there for the original 6
I
people?
was one of the originals. Yeah.
Throw it to him. Let him talk.
Crap.
All right,
All right. So for anyone who doesn't remember me, hopefully y'all remember.
I remember.
Walmart tip pool. Yes. So I was the dwarves in the last game. So I kind of got to be one of the forefronts of the like non-interaction group. And I was comfortable with not having a whole lot of interaction, letting other people do stuff, but I don't think that was the global desire to do things. So having only 6 people, I can definitely see why that would make it very scary to interact in any way that we wouldn't normally interact in, like a Discord call, basically, is one way to think about it, right? Like friendly, kind of let people do their own thing until someone asks to do something. With the 14 people, I think there is definitely a lot more. Well, number one, there's a lot more things happening, which means there's a lot more things that can step on your toes, whether intentionally or not. There's also a whole lot more alignments being represented, and just diametrically opposed, like beliefs and end game goals, which helps to further incentivize that like heavy interaction.
Okay.
Right.
So, Luke, we totally skipped. Oh, I'm sorry. Harmony, did you want to respond to Bever?
Yeah, I was gonna say what he means is he turtled the entire time in the first one, and I shamed him over and over for turtling.
Correct.
And he didn't turtle this time.
Correct.
All right. So
He was a
he stepped up
problem.
his game and went elite.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Good. Well, that was a growth moment. I'm glad we went through that together just now. But I do feel bad about Luke, who totally got skipped on our around the room.
It was for a reason. I'm also relatively new. Midway through the last session, got in as a new god and everything like that. I was a little happy when we made the new campaign because I didn't understand how all the gods interacted. I was lost and like not sure what to do with my god. So I caused more mayhem as a player than as a god.
So as a god, are you still in your turtle arc, or?
Oh, I no. I tried.
Hey guys, we got Raker in the chat. He says, tuning in for a minute to prove I was here. I love seeing how awesome this game has become.
Hi,
right
Raker.
on, man.
Yeah.
And low.
All right, so do we have any turtles this time around, or is everybody like sharpen their knives?
There's one who's explicitly supposed to be a turtle this time now.
Did you
did not turtle.
Raise your hand, Alex.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm being a turtle, but I'm just like, I'm doing something cool over here, man. It's going to be really cool. Just don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make friends in the desert.
Yes.
I don't see the problem.
I can't. You know what? I can't give you guys any crap. I was in a Braunstein where I was playing the dwarf faction, and I thought it would be so cool to come up with dwarven cannon, so I'd have artillery when we moved on the central castle, and I didn't realize how long it was going to take for me to research firearms and make it, and so I pretty much turtled and lost the game for the good guys because of that. So you can ask Bradford Walker for the details on that, but I can't bust anyone's chops for turtling because I had an idea, I thought it was cool, and I pretty much took myself out of the running. So, but man, if we'd got those cannons, we would have run that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had several people research firearms in this game.
Okay.
And you know what they did with them?
Fireworks.
Christian might be the one to tell this story, but so we had an alliance of like 3 people who were together on the map. Right? They just happened to start next to each other, and they all put a ton of resources into tech early.
Yeah.
And so they were trading and sharing their tech amongst each other, and like they were like, we're gonna keep all the tech. We're gonna call ourselves the Tech Bros up here in the Mithril Valley or whatever it was. And
Or I don't think there was ever anything like we're gonna keep all the tech.
okay, because it got out through you because you were the one.
Capitalist Dragonborn.
Oh yeah.
All the secrets are being revealed tonight, my friends.
Oh yeah. My domains were knowledge and commerce, so I was wheeling and dealing.
Yep.
You were Athens.
I was hearing people talking this, and like the entire month this game was going on, people were talking in back channels like, did Christian offer you this? Yeah, he offered me this too. Like, and everybody, like everything was going back to him. It was crazy. Like people were comparing information they got from him to see if it was the same. It was like it was insane how much everything was going back to Christian. Like whenever anyone needed any piece of information, they just went to Christian and asked.
Wow.
It was crazy how well he played that.
Rock on, man.
Yeah,
That is not hurdling. That is becoming the main character.
Oh yeah, one of the things I did was there's a domain called the prophecy domain, and they get certain information about the future events. So I gave him a stipend of like 2 mana, and then I sold the information I got from them for like 1 mana each, and I made a killing.
So, like,
Yeah.
several people. Yeah.
Knowledge and commerce, man.
Yep.
He got outed because one player was like, hey, I'm gonna send mana's our resource that we use. One player told me I want to send mana to the prophecy god, and I was like, okay, and I just gave the prophecy god a mana, and the prophecy god goes, I don't think I had a deal with him. And I go back and I say, the prophecy guy didn't have a deal with you. What's going on? And he's like, that's Rykoth, right? And I was like, no, he's the commerce god. He's like, oh
no.
Oh,
Oops.
I see. And
Gave
so
it
he got
away.
outed for taking the prophecy from the prophecy god and selling it to everyone else.
My response to that is like, I'm the commerce god. What did you expect me to do?
Right.
Fair.
Even in drop
that
shipping.
was pretty good.
Dear commerce god, I'd like to just give you my praises. I'm sorry, the commerce god is not here right now. You have the prophecy if you'd like to speak to him. I prayed the wrong prayer.
Oh no, wrong god.
But
yeah, new phone. Who this?
Oh.
Yeah, I wish I had like the Monty Python animation to go along with that. Anyway, we have heard from Bradford Walker. He says the funny thing is that those cannons are not only coming online now, but so are rifles. Man, just now they're finally coming online. Holy cow! That was a.
I mean, gunpowder was originally like 1,000 years before guns. So
true. Is my
Yeah.
camera falling? I feel like I'm now just like eyebrows down.
I think you're growing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You got taller.
Pay no attention to the man behind the Eevee Mux logo.
I mean, for a moment, it's the Eevee Mux eye patch at this point. The Eevee Mux pirate.
True.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we just need the mustache.
Yeah. It's real this time. See?
Oh,
Last time I did the Godstein, the mustache was well, I don't want to reveal any secrets.
okay.
Harmony, how did it feel between the first time you ran the Godstein and between this time running Divine Council? Did you have the same concerns? Did you do the same kind of prep? What was on your mind and how was it different?
so the last time we ran it, it was very rules light, and it was kind of like more of a creative activity, almost more than a game. This time it was a game. This time there were fairly strict rules for everything. We had a tech tree. We had we had combat rules. We had subterfuge rules. People were stealing tech from each other. People were like launching. People had like these great people that we were using. Like they had great mages and stuff that they would use to plague each other. We had actual alliances. We have betrayals. We had some pretty big betrayals. We'll get Luke talking about that in a little
So-
bit.
I don't know why me. I don't understand.
But this time it felt like it felt a lot better this time with the actual rules. Of course, last time it was stretched out over about 8 hours. This time it was over 3 weeks, really 3.5 weeks. And that's not including the prep where people were picking their domains and making their gods. And 3 weeks is a long game, and it didn't really lull. There were people in the voice chats constantly on my Discord server.
Hours.
There were people. there were people split
Wow.
across 3 different chats all the time. Like over the course of like 3 weeks, I'd see people like in the like kind of one-on-one voice chat, and like I get questions all the time. People were pinging me constantly. They were pinging each other constantly. There was like this constant over like 4 weeks, like high tension game, and people were
Did you
really
find
into
that
it.
you needed to be
Yeah.
on top of it for both games? Or was there a
Yeah.
difference between how much your attention was needed? Now, obviously, just having 15 people is going to need more of you than 6, right? But
Yeah, so I had orders due every 3. I had 2 sets of orders due per week for each
okay,
person. So basically, what I do is I split them up into 3 groups. I had Group A, Group B, and Group C. Group A orders were due Monday and Thursday. Group B orders were due Tuesday and Friday, and Group C orders
wow.
were due Wednesday and Saturday. And I would just execute them like after I was done working. I would just execute all the orders. And you know how many late orders we had over a month with 14 people? Guess how many late orders I had?
Uh,
You weren't late.
100?
You were never late once in a
I was
while.
about to say, was it? I feel like it
No.
was close to 0.
It was none. No
Yeah.
one was ever late. Everybody always had orders in on time, and it was crazy.
So-
I was like,
Well, in fairness, you did make it very clear to everybody that if they were not in on time, they got no actions, right?
Yes.
They were
Yes, I
skipped,
did.
right? It is because if they did not get them, they were skipped.
It
Yeah.
was total umphaloskepsis. You were just contemplating your navel on that turn. So, wow, that gives me a lot of questions. First of all, you had 0 late. So do you think that was a function of just having really awesome players? Or is it just that this type of game is so compelling that even if these guys were all schlubs, they would still be getting their orders in because it's just so exciting, or some combination of the both?
It's more the players than the game.
Okay.
Like I've played with a lot of people over the years, and I don't think that every single type of player would do well in this environment. I think it takes not necessarily a specific personality type, but it takes a level of engagement, and I just don't think every player is capable of that. But mine are the best.
True.
Jack says she's that terrifying. Don't dare be late.
True.
I mean,
Correct.
I just said, look, if you're late, I'm not gonna do them. So
She's
have them in on
very-
time or don't turn them in.
Yeah, we used to have 15 players, but the one guy was late.
Yeah. And that's why no one had late orders. An example was
Late.
made.
The late player.
Yeah, I mean, also
didn't
with
turn in his
these,
orders.
I mean, with these timed orders due, each action that you were doing was very impactful to the creation of whatever deal you're trying to make, whatever thing you're trying to do. It was very necessary to be on time if you wanted to accomplish what you were trying to accomplish in the game. So
How many turns did you have planned out, or was it always like so much stuff is going to be revealed that I can only really deal with what's in front of me?
Well, I mean, for me, with my character and my abilities and what I had to do, a lot of my orders were used to influence trade deals with other people. I had to do a large amount of trading with a lot of other people to get my society to where it is in the end, in the long run. I couldn't have done it all with like the abilities that my god had. I really had to talk to a lot of people in order to kind of see my dream of Penguin Vegas come to fruition.
You were the Penguins, okay? If you guys haven't been, I should have the link to throw up. I put it on Twitter. harmonyginger.substack.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
She has been blogging the receipts. I feel like every single post could be a whole This Is Dunder Moose episode, right? Like your post about magic versus tech. That's interesting stuff. You have 3 different ways you could have gone with that. But yeah, one of the things you point out on there is that you had some of the standard races, and then you had some like penguins and dustborn, and it got kind of interesting too.
Yeah. They were kind of all over the place with that. I'm not necessarily like the biggest fan of every single race that was added, but that's okay. I don't need to be because it's not about me. I think there were some that were like really my
You
favorites.
hated the penguins, didn't you? You couldn't stand them.
No.
She's a halfling hater. Don't let her fool you.
Yeah.
So I'm more of a like humanoid type. I want to play a human, an elf, a dwarf, or a halfling. I don't really want to
Somebody
play
with a
else. I'm kind of like
face.
yeah. But see, Noelle is the complete opposite of me, and she just won't play anything with a face.
It's fair.
I remember one time I was playing 5e. We were trying to do Curse of Strahd, and everybody was like Dragonborn, Aarakocra, and a turtle. And I was like, the animal crackers are coming to town, and they were like, why do you hate all these fantastical races? Dunder Moose, why are you such a human supremacist? And I thought about it for a second, and I said, I think it's the eating noises. Because in that game, there's like a big banquet scene where Strahd invites you to his table, and I'm just picturing all these lizard people just.
No.
Nobody wants to eat next to an Aarakocra who's just gonna like hook his beak into the steak and like rip it, toss it up in the air at the back of his gullet, and try to hork it down. I'm sorry, I'm getting us off track. I tend to do that. Where were we? Yes. Harmony hates the penguins.
I did.
You had to deal with from this group of furries we've got.
Very much.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I'm
we didn't only have furries. Jaden had humans.
Well, what were you playing?
I mean, featheries, technically. There's a word.
Jaden had humans. Did you ask?
Noelle, what race were you? Were you elves or were you something without a face?
I created a race. I did a Phoenixborn, which are just Aarakocra with cool features.
Right.
And they were silent eaters, I'll bet.
Hey, I like the idea of tossing food up and eating it. Then I'm like, that's good roleplay.
But I feel like from the Substack, Harmony enjoyed the Phoenixborn, even though it wasn't a human. Like, what did you like about them?
Me? I always liked Phoenix mythology. I always thought phoenixes were cool, so that was kind of a non-humanish one where I'm like, will I play one? Probably not. But I mean, it's tempting. It's tempting. I'll probably still play human. That's how I am. But the key word with them is we kind of tend to talk about them in past tense mostly.
Unfortunately.
There's a story behind that.
Yeah, something very terrible happened.
Oh yeah, the phoenixes will rise again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that why you have a volcano behind you, Noelle?
Well, this is my domains, but it's literally as the game reflects the lore. It's hilarious.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Oh, has everyone got their domain in the background? That is so awesome.
Yeah.
That's rock. Look at this. Christian just sitting there on his stacks of gold bars.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, now we play guest domains based on image. Go.
All right, let's do this. All right, in the chat, type the name and what domain you think they are based on their background.
Unfortunately, I think you'll only be able to get one of mine because there was only so many for
Fish God.
what I had going on.
Patty says, very well put together team here. Oh, I just from it was probably over a year ago, right? But our last episode, you guys had me cracking up. You were talking about you came across a brontosaurus that was stuck in a pit. And you cast jump on him, and I'm like, man, that had to be loud. A brontosaurus can jump out of a pit.
Yeah,
that was the peak of my D&D ideas. Gone higher.
All right. Well, the chat is letting me down. They're not posting any guesses.
yeah.
But I want to hear about Luke's betrayal. As someone who gets maligned and malingered as a betrayer myself,
it wasn't a betrayal. It was justified.
Right on.
I was betrayed upon first.
Get your betrayal.
There was no betrayal on my part. We were never aligned in anything. We did one trade.
Okay, set it up. What's going on? What was the background?
So, I want to say third round, Luke. Was that it, or
probably?
Yeah, probably around like third round. We had a deal set up where he trades me one of his grade people, and I give him some mana. He decided not to do that, and then I invaded his town.
Well, I backed out of the whole trade. Nothing was given with nothing in return. It was just like, yeah, bad deal, back out, no big deal.
And how did it work out for you?
I got my city back, and a little extra.
Yeah.
Oh, you will not keep that little extra, by the way.
Situation? I'm sorry, Christian. I didn't mean to talk over you. I'm just asking. Like, is the God part of it done and we can talk freely, or is there still stuff that people need to keep close to the vest?
So there's like most of the stuff is done, but there's like every 3 months we get an action.
Okay.
Yeah, so
there's some stuff to hold close, but like.
Well, just probably none of the other players will watch this, so we're free to talk.
Yeah.
True.
So
then I think
yeah,
we'll talk
definitely.
Right.
The funny thing you asked about Luke's betrayal. The funny thing was I was thinking about his other betrayal.
Oh, you're busted.
We were
How many of these did you rack up, my brother?
None of them are my fault. None of them.
Not true.
So, mentioned the game, we all got to place our first settlement. We had a whole big, 3,000 tile map we could place anywhere on. We could settle anywhere we wanted to. Yeah. And me, Noel, and Jaden picked 3 spots right next to each other.
No coordination.
Yep.
Yeah, touching, and then we're like, Harmony was really trying to get us to like move. She's like, you don't have to go there. You can move a tile or so away. We can let you pick a little again. And we're like, no, we're gonna stay like pretty close. And so we were the HOA was our moniker.
Oh my gosh.
And it was going really good. I still don't think Noel liked me very much, but that's a given my race and my god. So that was understandable.
I talked her down for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I repaid you back, right? Just exactly as
by killing my settlers in our first turn. Or no, that was the second turn. That was the second round.
You killed your own settlers?
No, he killed my settlers.
Oh, yeah. I misunderstood that.
So he asked me,
God, were you?
Yeah, he's like, can I settle like next to you? Because he wanted to make a little triangle of settlements. And I said, sure. And then when Harmony reached out to confirm with me, a different answer was conveyed for various reasons. And so he lost his settlement and basically wasted an action, and or discussed how important actions are to us in this campaign, a finite amount, and it really sets you up long term. I paid some HOA fines, and
Naughty, naughty. No
It's
genocide
okay.
now.
The HOA
Represent
fine
the
came
terms
out of
and-
Christian's pocket. End of the day. I was wondering who you were going to trade that to before it went to me.
All right, guys. Bradford's playing the game. Let's see how he does. Luke plays the totally tubular Republic of Tron. Beber plays that domain ruled by a reincarnated VTuber. Jaden plays Fantasy Science God. Alex plays Gob DiBiase. Christian plays the diehard Gnomes of Zurich, and Noel plays the fiery realm of George Lucas's best romance writing.
So, what AI generator did you plug those into to get those responses? Like, where on earth did that come from, man?
Only from the mind of Bradford Walker. Alrighty. So, if somebody else wanted to run one of these, Harmony, like, what have you learned doing two of them now? What is the kind of prep that pays off? What is the kind of prep that might have been like wasted effort? Like, what's your best advice?
Man, I'm like really upset about something completely unrelated here because Luke sat here and gave us his two smallest betrayals and did not talk about his big betrayal.
There's another one.
Yeah, but
There's another one.
You're gonna have to narrow down the list.
Right. Oh, I'm talking about. Oh,
There's
I
at least
was
6.
talking about the one that like made it into the Discord with meme warfare. That
Oh,
went
the
just
meme
nuclear
warfare.
when you
I
wiped out
am-
Jaden and started sharing memes and leaked chats.
I'm personally shocked and offended that somebody would be untrustworthy in a bronze team.
Yeah.
Unheard of.
I had to do it. Really into the role play, you know. I was really enjoying it, and
It's what my character would have done.
Oh yeah. The role play of genocide and then play the victim.
Yeah.
I am the victim. I really am.
What you made me do
Hold
to all
on.
your
No.
settlers.
Don't call yourself a victim when you teamed up with the xenocidal maniac.
Hey,
Against the
you tried to
HOA.
teach him first.
I did. You're right. But he hadn't xenocided yet.
All right,
I thought he
Harmony,
had
Luke is
hope.
not going to tell us. Why don't you spill what his
Right.
worst betrayal was?
So they had their HOA alliance, right?
Luke is
And
still playing. You guys,
he-
did you realize that he is still? He's always be steaming. He is still steaming
Never
right
stopped.
now. Tournament.
He did this thing all game where he was like really nice to Noel and Jaden. And he was like, yeah, totally, you can settle there. Yeah, no, we're buds, don't worry. Yeah, everything's good, guys. And then every single chance he got, he would just take something from them. Every chance. And
And
then
we couldn't
like,
even call him out on it.
the Borg comes in and completely genocides the Phoenixes.
Oh, dude.
Like she had
Wiped
no
me out.
shot. Wiped her completely off the map.
Actually had to
And
resettle.
Then he starts gathering around Jaden, around the humans. And Luke's people were right next to him. And Jaden and Luke's people had a defensive pact. But when the Borg attacked, Luke
You had
didn't
Borg?
honor. Yeah, we did.
Effectively.
Effectively, yeah.
When they attacked, Luke didn't honor the defensive pact. He joined the Borg. And when he did this, Jaden was like, why? And Luke leaks out screenshots from a private group chat.
This is why.
Where he's circling things that Jaden said about how he fears Luke's people, and he's like, this is
There is no meme, and it's a guy holding a cardboard sign with the screenshot on it.
I loved the propaganda. It was against me, and I still loved it. It was so good.
Yeah.
The memes were crazy. I'm sorry, you asked me a question that was completely unrelated to that, though.
Yeah, no, I
about
think we went in a better direction.
Okay.
Confession is good for the soul, my brother.
Nothing.
Harmony, I have a question. Was a defense pact ever honored in the game?
Yes. There were situations where defensive pacts were honored, and people didn't just say, yeah, I'll make a defensive pact with you, and then message me and say, don't honor this. There were a few times that did happen, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to throw this to the chat because, first of all, I'm a distractible guy, as you guys may have gathered. Second of all, this is a very distracting panel because of the stuff you guys did is just. I mean, everything is weird, right? Phoenixes and genocide and penguins. And the chat is even distracting. I can't even keep. It's hard to keep a line of thought because my chat's always pretty distracting. But to circle back to the question that I should have waited to ask, it's about prep. So, how did you prepare for this? Because it sounded like your players had asked for more rules. Like the last one might have been a little too freewheeling, and it's like, how do you combine the concept of immortal deities with limitations and rules? And then maybe around the room, after Harmony's done talking about how she prepped for the game, how did you each prep to take on your character?
So I wrote I think it was 45 pages of rules. I wrote a lot of rules.
45.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was a pretty big rule book.
Nobody's gonna read that.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
Yeah,
I
You
did.
guys read 45 pages of rule. You have the best players, Harmony.
Not
you
well.
have you win.
So I explained it too, but I wrote them for reference. I wrote 45 pages of rules, and so I don't know. I talked to everybody about it individually. I made a map. I actually made several maps to start and asked them to vote on which one they wanted to play with, and then
What were those 45 pages like? Were you was it like some movie where you did about a novelist where they start writing and then they just fall through the page and you just look up and 10 pages are gone? Or was it oh, now I got to write the one about this thing in case they was it drudgery or was it ecstatic?
So I kind of went all over the place, and there were 45 pages, but it was those big pages on the 5e stuff, right? So it was it was quite a lot. But I went all over the place with it, because I wrote that attribute thing first because I was I kind of want to do this kind of like Amber Dice List, except I want to add dice and I want to
we just have no amber with dice.
I made an amberless dice, and then I made all these abilities that they could buy, and then I made I did something's crackling really loudly. It's very distracting.
I think it's Pepper.
Oh, was it?
Be. Is it?
Okay, I don't know.
Is your microphone getting too close to that chest hair, Beber?
Something I wasn't sure. No, I was scratching my nose.
It's like Velcro by a roaring fire. I'm sorry, Harmony. Did you guys see what I'm talking about? But 45 pages and maps and all of that prep.
Yeah.
My question is, was that work or was that fun for you? Was that?
It was mostly fun. So, I have this thing with writing where the first 90% of it is fun, and the last 10% of it is torture. Because I really liked putting the rules together and figuring out exactly what I wanted and how I wanted the different abilities and domains to interact, because I made a power for each domain, and there were 30 or so of them.
Yeah,
a little more than 30.
You had way more domains this time than
the
first time.
There were some we kind of left out last time that I thought would be nice to add. So I gave powers to everything. I fleshed out rules for a lot of things, and then I fleshed out the turn structure and exactly what the order of operations for everything as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it was time to go, I had them do a domain draft. I explained to everyone what they were doing. So everybody picked their first domain down the line, and then we went up the line to pick their second domain. And I explained to them what we were doing. I had everybody create their god and figure out exactly what they wanted. And
so you didn't hand them goals. You just said roll on the table and then you make it.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't have them roll on the table for domains this time. We drafted an order.
Oh, okay, that's right. They got to pick based on.
So I asked them a list of questions, and they had to allocate 100 points between a bunch of different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was the bidding and purchasing abilities.
And the bidding was like Settlers of Catan, right? The first person got to go first, and then the person who went last.
The draft was,
the draft.
Yeah, the draft. The bidding was a blind bid where they would say, I want to put 30 points into warfare. I don't really know what other people are putting into warfare, but I'm going to put 30 points into warfare, maybe 20 points into magic. 15 points into creation, and 30 points into psyche, and then with whatever I have left, I'm going to buy up the abilities. And then they were ranked based on their bids from 15 to 1. 15 was the highest, 1 was the lowest. And whenever we had an attribute check or an attribute comparison of any kind, it would be that plus a d6. So if you used a magical ability on something, it would be your magic plus a d6 versus their psyche plus a d6, because the psyche was the defensive ability.
Okay.
And they would get the final totals reported to each other, but that was it. Like, they wouldn't know what was the d6 and what was the base score. So people were
So you
kind
got a
of
little
guessing.
fog of war. People they could test each other and see, oh, I won or I lost, but they wouldn't know exactly how hard or easy it would be to beat in any one.
And if your warfare was like 13, you would know you're the third highest in warfare, but you wouldn't know who the top 2 were. So
cool.
Yeah, so there was some fog of war with the combat, but it wasn't like very heavy, like troop combat, just because, I mean, it was like a big month-long game with like a lot of players, so we had to do something that was like really, really quick. And so I thought this was a pretty good way to do it, just because there was some fog of war there and some bluffing. Yeah.
So, because the last time around you used 5th edition, right?
For the D&D campaign, yeah.
For the D&D. Oh, so once the Godstein's done and the campaign starts, you use 5th, but you have your own rules for the Godstein. And same thing this one. Yeah, you're what you're describing. You created kind of from a bunch of sources, all of which I put on my thumbnail. Twilight Imperium, 3rd edition.
Yeah, I'm
Civilization.
sorry about the fake news comment.
No, that was a good one. That was good. I cracked up.
We're inspired by Twilight Imperium, Civilization, Amber Diceless, which is totally a different category of game, and like diplomacy. Yeah.
I don't want to go against the bros, but I do feel like it seems like, from what I'm seeing, these light, fast resolution systems are great for Steens because you don't need to adjudicate as much. The players can even do some self-adjudication when there's conflict and stuff. So creation, was that what you used to terraform the hexes around your city?
Yes. Creation was terraforming and also how large you could make your city. So creation was the amount you could build in the world, basically.
Because it seems like people had the ability to do anything, and a lot of people just wanted more Badlands.
Oh my god!
What happened there?
What do you mean?
Well, you had like the original map.
Oh yeah, no, that was Kyle. He's not here.
The God of War happened.
That was the Borg. Yeah, he made everything Badlands.
Why did you enjoy Badlands?
He can move through them faster.
He can move through them faster. He just
favored terrain bonus.
Yeah, he just wanted to terraform everything Badlands because he could move through them faster and could get.
He just wanted some Mad Max action, I guess.
Yeah,
he wanted the Badlands because he's a bad man.
I love it.
Did anyone?
So the mountains, which is my terrain, essentially, I thought I was doing a good thing by choosing mountains and nobody else could have it. I learned quickly that no, people are just going to flatten the mountains, and that's how they get around them.
Yo.
Oh man! And then there was one little like 3 hex bit of green in the middle of the desert.
Oh, it's bigger now.
It's bigger now.
Oh, it's bigger now. Okay.
It's bigger now.
Yeah.
I had to enlist. Yeah, I had to enlist a lot of help for creation. My creation was very low, and I didn't really fully grasp the entire rule set until about the second turn. And had I fully grasped it, I may have chose differently in my bids for my abilities. But yeah, I was just like, well, I'm going to have to start talking to a lot of people to help me make my forest oasis in the desert.
So, yeah, that's interesting. So, okay, now I'm starting to see why 45 pages wasn't a shorter read, because it's like, I'm going up against people who are going to read all of this stuff, and I need to be able to hold my own against them. right? Or I'm the only one that's reading all this, and I'm gonna kick your butts, you bunch of lazy gooses. Christian just keeps raising his hand. Yep.
Yes.
Interesting. I love it. Okay.
The quote of the game was Kyle saying, "I think it's unfair that people who read the rules have an advantage."
If it helps, I read very little of it. I was just there when all of it was written.
I was
You're
bouncing
going
a
with
lot
the
of
Aslan
ideas.
strategy.
Yeah.
I bounced a lot of ideas off of them.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, so did it work? You put a lot into the rules. It sounded like they had been asking for that. So players, did you get what you wanted with the 45 pages? Was that what you needed to have a good Godstein?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
It was definitely useful.
Yes.
The guidelines kind of made the freeform got a little weird because it's kind of hard to determine without that rule set what is the value of an action. What can you do with an action? I think having guidelines for the use of your actions made it easier to interact with other people.
Yeah. So you didn't have goals, you had domains, and it sounds like Harmony, you didn't. Did you do the thing where you pit them against each other, or did you just have like alignments and that was good enough and let them run with it, or
So
how did you keep them from turtling? How did you shoo them towards each other? I guess is my question.
Okay, so I gave them goals, or no, they. I'm sorry, I gave them a prompt and I said, I want you to write your goal, and this is the most important part of character creation. Is I want you to write down what does the world look like if your god is in charge. And so they all did that, and I said, all right, now you're going to work towards that goal. And I was like, oh gosh, please don't turtle. And I even had like a domain that was there to turtle. It was like the turtle domain that was the peace domain. Jaden took it. So it was the turtle domain, right? And I had a couple people from the beginning who were like, I'm gonna play sharks and I'm just gonna ravage the coastlines. And then somebody else was like, I'm gonna play orcs and I'm also gonna ravage the coastlines. Guess how many coastal cities we had after that? Like 0.
They all got ravaged.
No.
No,
my
one
city,
settled.
I mean, my city almost quickly became a coastal city.
Yeah, because they were eating away the land.
Mine ended up a coastal city.
And
And there's no more coast to ravage. You terraform more coast so you can keep ravaging.
And then we had Kyle, who was like, I'm just going to be the Borg and tear apart every phoenix in my path.
Right.
Oh my god.
But the player who started the most conflict is not here. The player who started the most conflict was the Halflings. This guy. So the Halflings, he was the god of adventure. I think his domains were Hearth and travel.
Okay.
And his powers were that he got a lot of great explorers, which meant he wasn't restrained by normal distance rules, and he could just sort of plop little settlements everywhere. And they weren't big, but they were just like small little settlements, right? So what he would do is he would just plop down next to everyone and he'd be like, hi neighbor, like get out of here. And he would get like as close to them as he could without encroaching on their borders. And they're like, I was gonna expand there, what are you doing? And he did that to the sharks.
Everyone.
He did that to the sharkmen. And not only did he do that to the sharkmen, but like he poured so many resources immediately and settling next to Beber, who is the sharkman.
Yep.
And he poured all his resources into fortifying that settlement immediately. And he was like, what's up? Just like right next to him. And that caused and he was like right in between two of Beber's settlements, like just in the most inconvenient spot.
This happens to me when I play Settlers. I know I brought the game up before, but I feel whenever someone puts a settlement on the diametrically opposed point of the hex, meaning only 2 can be, I'm like, oh, you stinking halfling, you are blocking me.
Yeah.
Before we go on, I do need to thank my ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. Thanks for the $2 dues, my bro. I appreciate the support. And
HOA fee spent. Yeah.
Yo.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right, so back to it. The halfling player caused the most conflict just by sidling up to people.
And
Yes.
the worst part was he fortified himself so well, just immediately just poured so many resources into it that people were like, "Oh, this is going to be easy pickings." And so they attacked him to try and take his settlement out from between the sharks. And Bever, I don't want to like
I'm so
tell this.
mad
I
about
feel
that.
like
I am so angry.
Okay.
Let me tell
Let me
you,
know when
I
you're
have
over.
lost sleep over that decision. I have drank because of that decision. I've screamed at myself in the shower for that decision. I am so mad. I am still so mad about it because it was all my fault. I chose, instead of thinking about why he would put a settlement in between two of my places for like 30 seconds, I wanted to drink alcohol. So I went ahead and put my orders in. I was like, whatever. I've got 14 warfare. I'll just steamroll him. No. Absolutely not. Barely lost. Barely
he was
lost.
deceptively high.
Keep in mind that it takes, at this point, it would take 2 actions to do that of 3, because I did not have a city. I had to build a war camp. So 2 of my 3 actions were spent failing to attack this city. And then I was like, that's bullshit. But by this
there
time,
he
I
is.
have now consumed alcohol and was like, whatever. I'll just attack another one of his settlements because, I'm the shark god. I'm trying to like
So you thought
be
I
a
could
big
take this
badass.
guy. I'll leave him till later.
So in fairness,
halfling. How much trouble can you be?
so here's I guess part of the people who read get an advantage. I knew about what do you want to call them? Temples for us, which had a minus to warfare. This was not a temple. This was a holy city, and I got them confused. It got a plus to warfare. So instead of me being super powerful and taking him down, no, didn't get to do that. So
Did
from
you
there,
attack? Did you just like waste your resources against his
yes,
wall?
I wasted everything. I wasted 2 actions and one of my great people attacking somewhere else. And from there, I could never recover. I was
think you did
mad and
recover.
still mad.
I thought so. I thought you did recover because at the end, like when we kind of did a vote at the end on who we thought like actually was in the strongest position at the end, and I think it was you still.
No.
I think it is.
No, I had nothing to show as being the strongest. I had one
You
city.
have like 2 cities.
I have
You
one
have 2
city.
cities. You
Well, I have one city. The other one kept getting meteored.
Oh yeah, that's
Meteored?
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
so one of my cities keeps getting blown up. I have nothing really to show for
This
it.
is really a Bronstein if nobody gets nuked.
True.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and then the worst part, that comes back to haunt me again, because in the final action of the game, instead of doing anything to help me, the halflings had taken that city back, and so I decided to team up with the orcs, because now it's not a holy city, it's just a city. We still fail. Because reasons. So I'm just like, all right, whatever, cool.
How were a bunch of halflings able to
defensive bonuses?
And they have deceptively high warfare.
Yeah, they had deceptively good warfare.
You have got Beber seriously dorsal fin hurt here.
I have been so actually mad, and I have not been able to get over it. And I do not know if I ever will.
Sorry.
This was
fun anyway.
Were you more or less mad than Christian after round 6?
It's probably hard. It's hard for me to know exactly how mad Christian was, but in fairness, I've been holding on to this anger over this one action for the past 2 weeks. It has been inescapable, and like I said, I have stayed up at night because of it. Right, I have lost sleep because of this, and I have not been able to recover.
As the shark man said to his friend when he saw a lamprey on his back, "Man, that sucks." Christian, why were you mad?
Why was I mad?
No, why was Christian mad? You guys were saying
yeah, Christian was mad.
We'll get to that.
Which part of it? Yeah. Which part of that nonsense in round 6?
I mean, probably the
Oh,
big one, right?
The 4 plagues or the metropolis?
Well, do we have to build up to round 6? Maybe we should go round by round and just talk about what was everybody's strategy and what happened.
So I think we can skip round 1 because round 1, I think most people were just sort of building up and doing a little bit of expansion, not hitting each other. Round 2 was about more of the same until the very end of round 2. Like round 2 popped off because the halflings did their provocative, like, can I swear on your show?
Sure.
Okay, their provocative, like, shithead strategy of just provoking as many people as possible.
Is
And
this the hobbits in the chat? One crude
This
dude.
is the hobbits.
Yeah,
Don't worry, you're not haunting my dreams. My failure is haunting my dreams. I don't particularly care what you did. It's my failure, and I blame myself for it. Right?
Says,
At any given point, I could have spent 30 seconds thinking about why you would do something so brazenly stupid, and I would have done actually anything else and gotten so much more for it. But no.
I can't believe somebody who calls themselves one crude dude and invites Beber to coaxeath and hate would be a provocateur. What are you telling me?
He is a creature on his own.
He and Beber are like really close friends in real life. So,
well, but here's the thing. This is what I do want to point out, guys. Though, like for my viewers who like me, I don't know if this is your first. This is Dunder Moose, or you've been watching me for a little bit now, and you're like, "What is this thing that they're doing?" I just want to ask you, when was the last time that you were so invested in your D&D session that you got physically mad? That you like couldn't let it go. This is some passionate play, y'all. You want to plug in? Well, maybe you don't. I don't know. Don't be like Beber.
Please
be able to shake it off and move on with your life. Play something that gets you this invested.
Right.
Do be like Beber as far as like just the shirtless Riz. Do be him like
yeah.
Maybe you need.
I might not have settlements, but I have chest hair.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
You're feeding on it. You're like a shark. It's part of your smolder. The anger is making you come across the screen.
True.
What were we talking about? My goodness, I'm bad at this.
Yeah. So in round 2, the big thing that happened was the halflings became like kind of a problem because by the time people realized how strong they actually were, they were already all over the map. And everyone had ignored them until
the cable
the
guy
sharks,
strategy.
Yeah, until the
what
sharks
about
started.
Bob?
Right. So everyone ignored them until the sharks started attacking them and losing. Then they were like, hold up. What's going on? So they were all over the map. They had like 5 or 6 settlements just like dotted on every continent, just next to people. And people were like, okay, these guys aren't supposed to be strong. But so that happened. And of course the sharks were like, oh my God, but they were not
humiliating.
Happy.
It was humiliating.
Well,
it really
wasn't because
it
wasn't because you were baited into that. He did that.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Is I should not have been baited. I should be smarter than that.
Hold on.
I should have stealed myself.
Hold on. You made fish people. Isn't getting baited like part of the game?
Shut the hell up. If they get baited, they lose.
I'm sorry, you got baited, chum.
I was about to make a similar joke.
Right.
Well, so he gets baited into that. And then he's losing, and then the orcs take his side, and the orcs go to the halflings' allies. And the do we have any of the forest friends here? No, none of the halfling allies are here. No. Well, the orcs go to halflings' allies and say, all right, your ally has caused so much trouble, I'm going to plague all of you guys. And so he starts a plague on the Halfling Island, which is a thing you can do with a great mage. It's one of the great people. And the plague spreads, hits one of the guys on the Halfling Island and the halflings. And he's like, all right, I've plagued you once. You have to denounce the halflings. You are no longer allied with them, or I will plague you again because I have another. And so they went to they went to a private chat and they talked about it while the rest of us were waiting, like, what are they going to say? And then they all 3 come back, and the Dumoulin, the frog guy, he told the orcs exactly where they can put that threat, and I don't want to say what he actually said.
So the exact quote was,
I don't,
Yeah.
probably was on
This
here.
is YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know how family
Sorry, I'm
friendly
not
Dunder
even
wants to keep it.
monetized. Nobody.
Yes,
watches.
You were
he
literally
said
monetized. I saw someone
Yeah.
donate.
demonetize. Basically,
Well, oh, yeah,
he said
okay.
demonetize this effectively.
We don't have ads. We've got people voluntarily.
Yeah.
So good point, Harmony.
Mhm.
So maybe we should worry about their feelings. But that to say, it's not like into the AM is gonna drop me because somebody
Okay.
said something. Right?
Well, he told them to go suck eggs. All right.
Yes.
Um, and so of course then and they were yelling about it too, like the orcs, the orc player was like, all right, I plague them again. And so it was like the island double plague,
You
right,
just
for like
offered to
so
have
many
you enjoy
people.
some caviar, and you're just getting mad about it.
Well, it was like, oh man, the halflings paid for what they did to the sharks, but so did all of their allies, and their allies like weren't happy after that.
Oh, okay.
So that was round 2, and then round 3,
was
I think,
round
I don't know.
2?
Yeah, that was that was the end of round 2. Yep.
Yeah.
I think round 3 was when the Phoenixes got a city.
I worked so hard.
Or was that round 2? Was it taken from you in round 3?
It was taken
Probably.
from me on round 3.
Yeah, that's what it was.
We just got monetized again.
Yo.
Okay, YouTube ad revenue. My ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. Says offering my tribute to the moose.
Hmm.
But if Heartland's Best Eggs wants to come on as a sponsor, I'm just kidding. Sorry, go ahead, Jaden. I didn't mean to step on your moment, but thank you, ear trumpet. Appreciate it, man.
So
Yeah,
tell. Oh,
No, go
I
ahead.
was just going to tell Noelle to talk about the plight of the Phoenixes.
Oh.
That whole nightmare.
So it takes a lot for my race. So I invested a lot into my race and not into my god. So I'm not the strongest. So it takes a lot for me to do anything. So I was uniquely suited to get this city from the fire giants. And I did.
Nice.
Did I get around with it? No. I immediately lose it to the Borg.
This is in round 2 as well?
Round
This is round
3.
3.
Okay, round 3. So
Yeah.
round
Round
2,
two-
you get a city, and then what did you do to the Borg that made them put the crosshairs on you?
Well,
There's a
I
story.
Exist.
Well,
So I was playing to my god saying, of like, he flattened all my mountains. I had a nice ring of mountains, and then he flattened them all. So I was like, put the mountains back where they are, or so help me. And
Oh, he
that
helped you.
oh yeah.
He took
He
the
kicked
city
my
off your
teeth in.
hands.
no.
So you didn't get your mountains back, and you lost all of your people that you had
Yeah.
invested so much in?
Yeah, so I lost the city immediately. But the next round, I was able to get some influence in the city, because once you're taken over, you still have some presence in the city. You have survivors and stuff. So I was able to hit up class against the war god and say, "Hey, I want this city." And we took it back, and I gave it immediately to the peace god because I would lose it.
Yeah, he
But
gifted it as a troll, basically.
yeah.
I paid, kind of.
Yeah.
And so in that turn, he saw me as a liability because he wants to go after the peace god. So my alliance with him made me a target. So
Okay.
he took out my whole settlements in the area so that I couldn't give any defense to the peace god.
The only thing I had done to him at this point was after the Phoenix Rebellion, I traded and got the city that he wanted. But the peace domain, my thing with turtling is I had an equal score to his, basically.
Oh, okay.
Because mine was based on Psyche, and I had the 15 Psyche, and he had the 15 Warfare, which meant with defense bonuses, he pretty much wasn't going to touch anything of mine.
So Psyche didn't just protect against magic; it protected against all of the
just
attributes.
me.
So yeah, that was his domain power, is that he could use Psyche as his warfare on defense only.
And I can't attack.
Yeah.
I'm the default turtle by choice.
Nice.
That was his domain power. But yeah, Psyche was a defense against magic.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he used my threat against him as his excuse to come and chomp every settlement. Just wiped us out.
So Noelle, at the third round, and your mountains are flat, your city is gone, and you're targeted for Did you have any fun at all in this thing?
Just wait until we get to round 6.
Was she still there at round 6?
I get to make another little settlement. I essentially start at the beginning. And round 4, I started with one little settlement, and I parked myself.
So you ran out of quarters and had to start from the beginning of the arcade game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it keeps going. The phoenixes just kept getting punched down. I worked really hard to make them a functional place in this world.
They were like Harry Potter, but if he never went to Hogwarts, he just stayed with the Dursleys and just got bullied the whole.
Yeah. I don't think anything happened round 5, but round 6, I'm just doing my own thing, and then suddenly there's a dragon that hates me parked in the middle of all my settlements. I'd like to say, given that spot by my friend.
That one was my fault.
All right, let's get some explanation for this dragon out of nowhere.
I stole it so the war god couldn't have it.
So one thing I did was between every round, there was an event. I had an event chart that I was rolling on, and some of the events were like planned. On the 4th round, I put out like dragon eggs, right? There were like 6 dragon eggs in the world, and they were like cool fantasy dragons I found that I liked. And on the 5th round, they would be like young dragons, and on the 6th round, the final round, they would be like adult dragons, right?
Who knew about the dragon eggs?
The prophecy god did. I sent the information to the prophecy god, and I told him that they would be there, and he could do whatever he wanted with that information.
Did that kind of act like the MacGuffin stones in Browser having the dragon eggs out there?
Because each of the dragons, I kind of gave them a unique alignment, and if they had a player with a similar alignment around them, they'd be willing to work with that player. But if they had a player with a different alignment around them, they might make a public call for somebody to destroy them and offer help to anyone who did, which actually happened to Christian.
Yeah.
I knew the risk.
Right.
Yeah. So I had 8 dragons out in the world. 6 of them made it to adulthood because 2 of them were killed as young dragons.
That's right.
To be put on to have their heads mounted in a shark tavern.
I don't know. One of them, I think their ass was posted up somewhere.
I'm sorry. The art I found had really thick thighs.
Overwhelmingly thick thighs. For no good reason.
I've got some puns coming to mind, but you know what? I'm going to be mature this time and let the moment pass.
But why?
One crude dude says, "Talk about the bidding war."
Oh yeah, the World Fair.
Man.
Halfway through, there was a halfway celebration with the World's Fair, which was the strongest people or the most talented people in the world were lending their services to the highest bidder. It was not a slave auction, guys, I promise. But
was it your event table harmony, or was it something the players?
It was not a slave auction.
I planned this one, but so we had some of basically they were big one-time use powers for the person that bid the most mana, right? And there was this massive bidding war. You can talk about it, Christian.
Okay, so the big 2 people that were going for the bidding, there were 3 people that were up for auction. There was an architect, a scientist, and a explorer.
Yeah.
The god of prophecy, I don't know how he got the man. I think people just gave it to him. He tried going for 2 of them at once.
He
So
didn't try. He succeeded.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the architect was the one that like upgrades your city to a metropolis,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and like you in the rules there was like only one person that can have a metropolis, so that was like
Oh, so the first one to do
the
it
best
blocked it for
power.
everyone else.
So
what's
so
the-
what I
what's the
did was
benefit of having a metropolis though.
Better. Wait. What
it's
was the
just
advantage you
various
said?
better effects.
Okay.
Yeah, they just have better effects. But go on.
So what I did was or at the time of the World Fair, me and the Prophecy God had a falling out because he found out I was selling his prophecies.
Because he didn't suspect it for some reason.
Yeah. So so any great person I bid on, he would like bid a little bit higher. But I used that to my advantage of I made him overbid on the Explorer so I could win the bidding on the Architect.
Nice.
Because once you've submitted your bid, you
That's
have
it.
to be able to afford it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So you got him with the head fake.
right.
He threw
Yeah.
like 20 mana at it.
It was a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, what was the quote? It's like, you do not have that much mana, and then proceedingly Harmony comes in and is like, actually he does.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
8
just like, wow.
when that call was made.
Wow.
It's like, I've not even seen that much mana this game. What?
Right.
Yeah.
I did not know that number was
I-
feasible.
I don't know if I want to give away why he had that much, but you should be
No.
looking at each other for that.
People were funneling mana to do melee.
Yeah, there was some spite gifting people who thought that. So I guess we can say this now. There was some concern that there was some misinformation spreading from the Commerce God.
It was not misinformation.
Well, there were some people who thought they got misinformation from the Commerce God, who were really happy to spend their resources to watch you get outbid.
But they didn't realize he wasn't really going after the Explorer anyway.
Yeah, basically.
I spent the entire game broke. I got famine twice.
No, he outsmarted him. It's just
Right.
there's a lot of resources to outsmart.
Yeah.
Made the statistically correct play, but man,
I had
low percent chance.
I had about like 51% the amount of resources he had. I still got what I wanted.
Yeah, no, you did the auction well.
So he was just doing the Kamala strategy where he was just spending it all on Beyonce to come and not even sing.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
So, but did he get anything good out of the Explorer? Like what, besides the
did.
fact that he had the satisfaction of what he thought was blocking Christian from having it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got good stuff out of that for sure.
He got 2 of them.
He got good stuff. He didn't get the best stuff.
Right.
But he did not get the Metropolis.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Neither
But
did
neither did Christian, actually.
I'll say.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
in the very end.
Yo.
All right, so where are we at now? This is halfway through, so that's like
Yeah,
what? End of
that was
turn
round
3, beginning of turn 4?
Yeah. So we
That
had
was
the
after
Phoenix.
the famine.
Yeah, did the Phoenix genocide happen turn 3 or 4?
4.
The Xenocide happened
4.
turn
4, yeah. And then I guess turn 4, the other major
Genocide?
events. Yeah, there was a genocide, xenocide. I'm not really sure what the distinction is between the two.
Phoenixide.
Yeah.
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 Phoenixide.
Phoenixide.
Phoenix
Yep.
side.
No, that happened. Then what happened round 4, guys? Was it just the Phoenix genocide? Was that the big event?
That was probably the biggest.
I think so.
I wish I had notes. Oh, I do have notes.
I'll say,
Did you
I would
have
hope we had
any-
an entire Discord chat of
Noel, did you
I
have
did.
any allies helping you, or were they all just like, oh, sucks to be Phoenixes right now?
I thought I had allies.
I was trying. It always went horribly wrong for you.
I know.
Unfortunately,
This
not
one
only
was
did I not
earlier
have
asked if
anything to help,
anybody kept a defensive alliance.
right. Unfortunately, not only did I not have anything to help the Phoenixes, I think I'm also like alignment-wise diametrically opposed.
Oh yeah, like we.
I would have gladly helped if anybody asked.
No, you're far too wet for the Phoenixes.
Right, and unfortunately, yeah, you were far too dry and up in the air.
Yeah.
Y'all are opposite ends of the like atmosphere,
everything.
alignment, like.
Round 4 was also where Rykhoff and Valeth, so Luke and Christian, went to war.
Was that when he took mine, or I took it back?
Yeah, that's when.
No, that was round 3 because that's when
he
the
took yours in round 3, and you took it back in round 4. But yeah, that was no. I think you took it back in the same round. You immediately got back.
Oh yeah, I was unfortunate in that he went immediately after me.
Yeah.
One crude dude in the chat says, "I offered to be there with you all for some mana that I needed." I think that was the problem, though, right? Was you were there next to everybody, like you were always there for them all.
He was good. Honestly, I think the halflings were probably some of my favorite played race in this game, just because they were just so everywhere and doing what halflings do and exploring.
The Ned Flanders neighbors.
Yeah, they were.
I'm so
were
glad
like,
they've been
destroyed. Chuck people.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they're almost gone.
Yeah, they're not in a great spot now, but
no,
Not a city.
Yeah,
they have a city for now. Yes,
and look, they're doing better than me and me and Noelle in the desert. I've got one settlement.
True.
It's a good settlement, but I've got one. She's got 2 that are like. I think one of them's Hamlet.
Yeah,
are they both Hamlets?
No,
one village.
I had to work to keep it to a village because it got plagued.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, hang on a second. So you got flattened, you got genocided, and yet I'm hearing Beber has 1 settlement, Jaden has 1 settlement, and you've got 2.
I have a couple settlements, and I only have 1 city.
1 city. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I just have 1 settlement. It is 1 city, but I have 1 settlement.
His problem is the same as my problem, the war god.
Right, yeah, they kind of got stuck with actually
I could have handled the war god. My problem was the moths.
Yeah, because round 5, the big thing was there was this impenetrable city, or I guess it was a town, but it was impenetrable. It had so many defensive buffs stacked on it. The town of Relos. Which was Jaden's primary town. Man. Round 5, that got taken and handed over to Sea Orcs as a show of strength from the war god. He just wanted to take it to show Jaden that he wasn't impenetrable and he could fall. It was quite beautiful.
They spent more resources taking it than I spent making it. I'm okay with that.
Wow.
It took like 3 actions and 2 or 3 great people to take 1 settlement. I'm okay with that. It cost me 2 to make.
The town state of the invincible overlord.
It also took a surprise alliance from Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Luke kept his word?
No.
I'm sorry. I got
He kept his word that he would betray Jaden, yeah.
He kept his word to the Borg, not to the peace god, who could do literally nothing to him.
So the war god is the one who leaked the chat.
Yeah.
Jaden and Noelle saying, "Hey, we should team up because the moths are the real threat."
And the orcs.
I paid my fines. I'm a good standing at the HOA. Why?
Don't believe this propaganda.
I didn't say that we should wipe you out, as you accused me before. I said we need to stop killing each other so he can't kill us. That's a little different, but it still sounds bad to you. I understand.
This is the kind of thing that happens in a Bronstein. These are the kind of justifications you say in your own mind for the horrible things that you do to each other.
I did call you interlopers. That one was a little too strong.
Crude dude says you kept the grass a quarter inch too tall.
I mean, he's the god of vice. I mean, like, I don't blame him for the grass, but like, that is another fine.
I
This
feel
is
like I need to
when
lean on my other elbow, but if I do, I'm right behind the logo again.
Do it.
Oh.
All right.
this is when Jaden found out that I did not uphold the defensive pact, and in fact aided in the attack for that.
Out of
Okay.
character, I knew better than to trust you, but in character, I was like, you know what? He paid his reprimands. I don't have a reason not to believe him now. I knew it was coming, but was hoping it'd be a little longer first.
All right, it's way up in the chat. I can't find it, but somebody did ask, is anybody going to trust Luke again?
In this game, no.
Well, that in the next game, though. I can tell you, bro, I've gotten besmirched with that same foul reputation, totally undeserved, by the way.
Look,
I was painted into a corner by a savage DM, and the next Braunstein I played in, I was a reporter. I wasn't even a faction. And
Bro,
R-Dub boiled me alive.
You shot our driver out of nowhere. Like, what do you want? We were under fire. Like,
no, I gave him every opportunity. I told him to get out of the ATV, and I was even going to let him keep his breath mask for the atmosphere. I counted to 3, and he didn't leave the ATV, and so I had no other choice at that point.
He was our lifeline, and you shot him.
You didn't see the leaked message where he said he was going to run you over if you were standing there by yourself.
But I wasn't standing there by myself. In fact, we were under fire, and he was the only one that knew how to drive.
You know what, Harmony? Spy God.
Okay.
We seem to remember things differently.
So now you got me doing it. Now I sound just like Luke.
Now,
my point is, Luke, just don't be surprised if you get betrayed for absolutely no reason in another one down the road because of this metagame knowledge that people have about how things went down this time.
So, here's the thing. To his credit, he's still more trustworthy than the lawful good god of virtue.
Oh my
god. Okay, I guess we're going into this now.
Yeah, we're hitting rounds 5 and 6.
Right.
All right, let's do this. Let's go there.
So,
I think it's mostly round 6.
So round 6, Luke and Bever decide to attack my metropolis together. But that's not all the help they had. They also had the god of virtue, who I had a defensive pact with, decide not to show up.
Yeah.
And then another guy that's not here terraformed the land around it so they could attack me. Basically, it took 4 gods to versus me to get my metropolis away from me.
Wow.
Yeah. So let me talk about a player I have that is not here. The god of virtue. Her name in game was Brynhild. But so this player, I've been playing with him for like 5 years or more now, and he's a wonderful player. Absolutely just brilliant guy, creative, funny, everyone loves him, but he follows this pattern. What he can't help himself. He always betrays the party. He always does the meanest thing he can to the party, but it's great because whenever someone attacks him, whenever someone kills him for it, he's laughing and congratulating them, right? He takes it so well. He's like, yeah, I deserve that. Good job. You know, and it's just, at this point, everyone expects him to do that. But he was like, yeah, I'm going to play a lawful good god of virtue. And I'm like, are you really? And it's like, yeah, I can do it. I promise. I can play a lawful good god of virtue. Like, okay, sure.
Scorpion riding the frog across the river.
Wasn't he failing?
Like asking a fish not to swim.
Plotting?
Well, because of what?
Plotting. He hadn't done anything in game yet, but he was.
He was advising a lot of the more evil gods, definitely, but he wasn't officially helping.
I mean, no. There was also just he was every loophole imaginable to still maintain like lawful neutral or lawful good. Like he would like
No, he didn't.
he would like have an intermediary trade things with like the actually evil players. So like there would be a trading amongst 3 people backrooted from the god of virtue. So like the god of war could demolish a bunch of people.
Yeah,
I had no hand directly in helping this evil god.
I think it would be
Yeah.
good to make sure the god of war had guns, but I'm the god of virtue. I could never do this. I'm just going to give him to the penguins because the god of war will threaten them out of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to remain as neutral as possible for as long as I could remain until I was given no other choice.
And not only did that player not honor his defensive pact at the end, he did something else because Jaden had this like really nice collective of hamlets, and basically what he was doing is he had this city and he had people setting up little hamlets as embassies around it. It was like the world capital. Everyone, all the good gods had their little embassies there. Do you want to talk about that anymore, Jaden, or did I?
Yeah, so the relations between these gods here. Brynhild is sister to Vanarashka and
I
mother
thought
to
my sister.
Israfil, and however you say the halfling god's name. I do not remember. I will never remember his name. It's spelled weird.
Oh, no.
So I had her kids and her brother all in a little group, and she trades the settlement I gave her to the orcs, and then we get plagued twice. And the only people affected, the halflings lost a settlement, and then the phoenixes lost a level of both of their settlement.
The only ones affected were those 2. And I'm like, you should have
Also,
seen the rolls.
The Phoenixes also have never done anything to anybody this entire game to warrant the amount of just hate and onslaught brought upon them.
I think she was just collateral for the plague. She wasn't the target.
You're just happy feet out there dancing on the ice.
Yeah, and then poof.
I even medicated the birds and it didn't save them. I don't like.
So I messaged the player who did this, like the god of virtue who handed over a settlement in the middle of everything to sea orcs and terraformed a nice little shore for them to come in and plague everybody. I messaged the player and was like, you were supposed to be lawful good. What happened? And of course, I get like a 8-paragraph response, right? About it's like the Charlie Always Sunny in front of the bulletin board about why this is actually a virtuous act. And I'm like, okay.
If you want to go stealth virtue, good. We need to strip him of either his alignment or virtue. I don't care which.
When player alignment trumps character alignment.
Yeah, and I mean,
he's gonna play it.
I gotta ask: Did you give Headley anything for him to betray me, or did he just do that by himself?
That was just pure luck. It was not planned at all.
So I can tell you the moment you lost his support. It was when you attacked the moths unprovoked, with the only reasoning being, yeah, but they're evil. That's when you lost his support.
No, I said, yeah, they're evil, and they're parasitic entities. Therefore, I am just exterminating pests.
Right.
No,
but it was an unprovoked attack. It was.
I mean, they also backed out of a deal that was.
I mean, so did you.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did with me.
I mean, yeah, but the difference is I could do something about it.
Yeah, but not anymore.
See, but no. You don't get to claim that and then post it on somebody else as a reason to kill them.
He also lost nothing. He didn't take an action. He didn't lose any resources. It was talking about a deal that just didn't work out.
Listen to all this.
Listen, Jaden, if you wanted to kill me, I would have been fine with that.
Should I not even be corrupting the youth of America by offering this type of game as something people should be doing? Every one of you is turning into a conniver, a weasel. What have we done? What have we done?
And so on the 5th round of the game, I did the absolute meanest thing I could, and I gave all of like with the event. The event was like all of the people who were highest in a certain stat got a power boost, a temporary, like one of the a couple of the great people. So like temporary powers, right?
Mhm.
And I did that to cause as much conflict as I could, which definitely worked. There was a lot of stuff happened with the Sea Orcs there, right? But I decided like on the 6th round, I wanted like an event that would bring people more together. So I did the worst event I've ever made, I guess. Everyone hated it. And
I mean, we
Fine.
all came together in one way or another.
right. I was like, I'm gonna make everyone
We were
come
rubbing
together here at
brain
the
cells.
end. And I was like, okay, there's a zombie plague now. And but
Zombie
but
plague.
yes, but well, everyone can come together over zombies. But there is a cure for this zombie plague. There's an incantation that will make the undead go away, and it's hidden somewhere in the world. And I'm not going to tell you where it is. And I sent clues to 3 players.
Was
And
one
I
of them the
figured,
prophecy god?
yes.
Okay.
What? No, not the prophecy god. He had clues that this was going to happen, but he knew which players had clues, but he
Oh,
didn't
okay.
have a clue himself. But I sent a clue to the life god, to the fire god, and to the god.
Say it if you want.
Okay, I can say it.
I don't.
To the god
Yeah.
to the god with the highest magic score.
Mm.
So I sent one to each of those, and the idea was they're not going to find this unless they come together, right? And talk about it, and put their heads together, figure it out.
Cooperate.
I thought the riddle was sufficiently difficult that it would require multiple people, but not
Mhm.
so difficult that it would keep people up all night and drive people insane.
I spent 5 hours looking at the map. I did not figure out the answer.
Really?
I had to find other methods.
Oh my gosh.
Distortion.
That is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it
I'm so
was
sorry, man.
apparently
Happens.
requiring them to do math and the periodic table references and stuff in order to
Only
find
2 dead
coordinates.
languages you had to know.
Right? Like, apparently that was too much. But see, the thing is, only one of them had to find the answer, because once someone sent me the incantation, then like they were safe, right? And it didn't matter how they got it, so they could share it. And everyone got it. Like one person found it, and everyone ended up getting it. So they were friends in the end. Patty asks how much longer until a guide is released to help us replicate this. So I have the original one that I wrote up, and I haven't released it yet. And that one is more of like a philosophical document on how to like run. Oh my gosh, my water!
It's her water now.
Okay.
Yet another betrayal.
That was more of a philosophical document that is kind of to run this type of game. The actual full rule set I need to revise, because there were a couple things, like there were a lot of things that worked better than I thought they would, but a couple things that didn't work as well as I thought they would. Oh, we have Devron in chat.
We got delay.
I think he is mirroring my sentiment.
The connections we found that meant nothing were driving us wild. So what was this riddle, this impenetrable,
Looking hard.
Gollum-esque
Okay.
I mean,
puzzle?
I blame the fact that I was tilted. That's the only thing I could come up with.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I've been tilted for a month.
You're
it
still
was
hungover from regret.
right. So I don't think it was like that hard, right?
No.
I still have no clue what it was. No clue.
Okay. Oh, you don't know how
I submitted the answer, but that's it.
okay.
No.
The train leaves Chicago
right.
at 4 in the morning, traveling
Okay.
28 kilometers per hour.
I'm finding it.
What's the weather like in Paris? Yeah.
I've lost the app. Oh,
the weather, it is
okay.
French.
Okay.
Yeah.
Explain the universe,
So-
give 3 examples, and use the 4th letter.
No, it was just a simple riddle. It was the riddle. So the riddle was shining in the moonlight in dusk's gentle glow, not the sun's choice, but second I show. Find me, share me, or stay shrouded in fog. I'm with 1 in 20 halflings on the island of the frog. And no one's going to actually be able to get the riddle here because it has to do with a world map. So
Yeah.
the first 2 lines were about silver. And the last line was a math problem because there were approximately a population of 800 halflings on the island of the frog, right? So 1 in 20 is 40. The chemical symbol for silver is AG. AG40 was the hex code, was the coordinate that they had to look in. That's all it was. But
Makes sense now.
Hamlets had humans.
I can guarantee you, like, maybe one person looked at the populations of the villages.
I was about to say, right, when I heard 1 in 20 halflings, I was like, what 20 halflings are there? Right? Why is there 20 halflings on the island of Frog? What the hell does that mean? And I did not realize that it's because it's the population of hamlets can be turned down into a 1 in 20 is like what did you say it was 1 in 20 out of like what was it? You say there was like 800, right? So 1 in 20 is 40.
Yeah.
It's 5%. I got the 5% part right? I did the math, but I was like, what other number is missing? Right?
More than me, my friend. More than me.
So,
You
anyway,
bunch
I made
of
that way
sheep.
too hard.
You bunch of sheep still believe in the periodic table?
So that's the worst part is that once I got the periodic table, I started being like, okay, that's cool. Let's look into this and start going over it. And I believe you then said something about it's not a cipher, it's the periodic table. And I got blown completely away from that, from it being something other than it's a periodic table.
So I cross-referenced the periodic table with hex codes on the map.
Yep,
so
1 in 20?
No, like
probably?
the electron number for sulfur is 16. So I looked at S16, and that's the exact hex a Dragon Lair was on.
Right.
So some of them had like the periodic table as a hint because they were like exploring hexes could be, and I was like, okay, so you find a scroll of random letters that you've never seen before. It looks like this, and some of the periodic table is kind of a hint, and that was a bigger mistake because they started like going through the riddle, finding everything that like was a chemical symbol and like putting it together, and like somebody sent me the word hookers in like elements, and I'm like, okay, clearly I have failed.
I also feel another part
the
of
element
this.
of skankium.
Damn, I feel like something else that needs to be important here. The shining in moonlight part, right? The one that's supposed to reference silver. Keep in mind that while we're being told this, we're told that we need the map. And that makes sense, right? We have to find it on the map. There are cities called, what was it? Duskhaven, Night's Rest, and right north of them is a place called like, what was it called? Something
Sang
del
El
Sol.
Sol.
Sang El Sol, right? The sun, right?
Blood
the sun, the moon, night are all shade. There was one with shade in its name as well, right? So we're told we need the map, and there's these places here that reference night, moon, shade, and sun, and it is referenced in here. And I'm like, what the hell?
One crew dude says it took me 2 acoustic kids
no reference.
me.
He was the one that solved it, by the way, was one crude dude there, the halfling player was the one that solved that riddle. And it did eventually make its way to everybody. The solution did. So
for what it's worth, that we've been poking some fun at it, but that was a legit puzzle that you made, a riddle that took probably some planning and thought, and
yes,
I
it is impressive.
Well
I think it's pretty cool, honey.
Well, I would not recommend doing that in anybody else's game. It was,
There was
no
no reference to silver on the map anywhere.
Nope.
It was
Looking at the map did not give me silver.
So
I don't know where silver came from.
The game overall was amazing. Everyone had fun. I had fun. I could tell like everyone was really into it. That last round and that riddle I gave them, that was a disaster, and no one should ever do that.
Okay, so that was round 6 that you gave
Yeah.
them the riddle.
Yeah.
What else happened in round 6? Besides everyone just
Metropolis.
staying up all night and losing their
Yeah,
minds.
Metropolis.
The Metropolis was
The
taken.
almost death of the
Made his
phoenixes
move.
again.
Yeah.
Second time.
The big things that I'm sorry, somebody else can say it. I think we've gone over most of them though.
I think we already
Right,
went
what
over
was it?
Metropolis and the plagues.
And the double plague.
Mhm.
There were
Yeah.
4 plagues that round. The forest friends got hit 2 more times, and it only killed the halflings.
This was a more minor thing, but prior to taking the Metropolis, I ended up accidentally doing something Luke wanted to do and took the city that was called Sang El Sol because there was a dragon there. And I was like, whatever. I found out this dragon hated the person who was holding the city, so I was like, maybe I can get the dragon to help. Well, I got the dragon to help. And
Was
able
that
to
the dragon
take
that killed
over.
Noel again?
No.
No.
Nope. I would have been willing to trade a city out of there so that I could have that dragon, because clearly that dragon would have been more friendly with me and my sharkiness than anybody who was in that area actually. So at any given point, I would be more than happy to settle there and take something from them, and they can have something else. Didn't
Crude
happen.
Dude points out the retaking of the halfling city.
Oh yeah, Taranok.
Yep. So the formerly holy city turned into Orc City that has been reclaimed as a halfling city, and unfortunately, at like or however late it was, right? It was like 10 minutes before the due date for all of the final actions, and I'm going back and forth trying to decide what my final action should be, whether it's trading a city or just doing nothing except for myself or trying to help someone do something. And I don't know if it was analysis paralysis and I just wanted something. I don't know if I just miscounted somewhere.
You were low on sleep and full of substances.
I think I
Sounds
was low on sleep, full of substances, and just ready for it to be over. I decided to help the orcs try to retake the halfling city, and we fail. So last
the
action
halfling
spent
couldn't
doing
stop
nothing.
beating you.
Yeah,
He beat you like a rented drum.
yeah. I'm just like, all right.
Guess the halflings get this city on an island in the middle of the ocean between 2 shark settlements because
Yep.
nothing can be done about them.
Yep.
I mean, it is a very adventurous position.
It's a very annoying position. It's a very irritating position for it to just be there. The good news is it can't get any worse. It is
They're like
as big as it's going
you know,
to.
like the halflings are like the plantar fasciitis of the world. They're just painful and they're there and they won't go away.
Yeah.
Basically.
I do believe I did call the halflings the foot fungus race because they're
Yeah.
everywhere.
And
There's
then
nothing more reviled than the orc, said the halfling king.
true.
Oh man. All right. Well, so 6 rounds. Like, how did you know when it was done, Harmony? When you were like, okay, now we can go on the show and talk about it.
So I planned for 6 rounds because I didn't want it to overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to transition into a campaign without people
You
getting
wanted Bever to
tired
get
of
some
things.
sleep.
Yeah.
You will get none.
So I planned for 6 rounds. I think 6 rounds was about correct.
Yeah.
I might go like, if you want to add variability, you might go like 5 + 1d4 or something and not tell people the length, because I think it might have benefited from people not knowing when the last round was.
There is a difference between knowing it's the last round and
Yeah.
going for broke and saying, do I keep the world going? Like, do I make decisions that make sense for me in an ongoing world?
So I might have added some variability to that, but I think 6 was like, the actions were getting a bit more cumbersome near the end. There was like a bit more that was going on. We have to make sure we have everybody's modifiers correct, and like I have to contact Headley in the middle of the night where he lives, because he's in the UK or he'd be on here. I have to contact him in the middle of the night asking, are you sure you don't want to honor this defensive pact? And he's like, it's 3 a.m. No.
No pacts are legally
I would
binding.
have to. I have to preface. Headley is on my list now.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
There are several lists.
Brynhild is on the list of her own son. Like what?
Headley's on the Luke list.
Headley's on a lot of lists.
I feel like Headley is the list.
Israfil has a list of who needs to be dealt with, and Brynhild is currently at the top of that. He is the other lawful good god, other than Vanarashka.
Yeah, I don't think that's
So,
good.
Harmony, what's next? What's next for this game?
Now we
Now
play the game.
Yeah, now we play the game. We play D&D.
True.
We got a world. We got a world
So-
with a history.
We've got a world with a history. It's an entertaining history. It beats by a mile anything that one DM or one writer could come up in and of their own mindset, because there's things that just happen just because of the spark, the interaction between your players and them bringing their best selves and their most hilarious ideas into conflict with each other. And so would you say that leads for a more compelling world once you guys start playing? Like, are you like chomping at the bit? I can't wait to play a character in this world now, knowing all the stuff that you know?
Yes.
Or are you sad that the God part's over and now it's just going to be D&D?
It's not over. It's just slower.
The God part is not over during the campaign either.
Okay.
Like we all, there is once a month there is like a divine council leader that is elected amongst all of us that creates a great action.
That's a carryover from the last game, right? The election.
Yeah.
Cool.
I still vote we sanction either Brynhild or Cararies as soon as possible.
Oh yeah.
One of the two of them needs to be locked in the corner. If
So,
not both.
So the
Alright.
Borg have the
Order.
The order. Yeah, part of the order domain is that they get an extra vote during Divine Council. So if we just ban them from Divine Council, they lose that whole ability.
Yeah, vote to do it. It'll be funny.
So the scene continues. Always be staining.
Yeah.
Yep.
As
I
far
cannot
as like,
believe it. Oh, go ahead.
as far as am I glad it's over? It's kind of like this game was kind of like going on vacation or summer camp for me, where it's fun and you're having a great time. But like when the end's approaching, you're like, okay, all right, let's get done. People put off giving me their orders last time because the 4th of July, and so I gave them an extra day, so I get 50 orders in one day. Not an exaggeration, because everyone got 4 actions that last round. So I get 50 orders in one day that I'm adjudicating, and I'm like, okay, all right, you know what? Let's play D&D after this. Like,
Right on.
yeah.
Okay. Well, yes, it's almost been 2 hours. We're in our final minutes here. We'll go around the room. Are you glad you did it? Are you satisfied whether you won or whether all your mountains got flattened? What's the final verdict, guys? We'll start with Noelle and go clockwise.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad we did it, because this kind of really engages the characters to the lore of the world. Like, all the players know exactly what's going on. There's no hidden, and there's still things to discover. So I really like it, and I'm glad that we're jumping into the game now, because I am done getting my teeth kicked in.
I'm glad you had fun, Noelle.
How about you, Beber?
I am glad we did it. I'm glad I got to be a part of it. I will probably never be an aggressive type ever again for any reason. I will go back to my safe turtle shell. I will be unpenetrable. I will find ways to gain victory elsewhere. Yeah, children, don't attack random settlements because you want to get to personal time.
Right on. Luke, final verdict. What do you think, man?
I had a great time. I can't thank Harmony enough for all the work she put into it, because it was just a massive fun game, and she was the engine behind it. And now going in versus me joining midway through last time and being on the intro this time, I'm a lot more grounded, and I know what I can, can't do, how to fit in, how to act, and all that stuff.
Right on, man. Jaden.
I think it went really well. We had like victory conditions as well that were voted on. Those are also kind of cool. But no, I think it did go a lot better than the first one. I agree, Bever. You should never ever play Hostile again.
I would be inclined to agree. Keep in mind, something we didn't talk about, those victory conditions. I ended up throwing one of those away as well.
All right, Alex. Final verdict.
I mean, it was such a it was such an immersive experience being able to create this world with everybody, and like everybody being like, this is like the first time that I think all of us were kind of like in the same thing together. So this was a really fun, exciting way to build the lore and build the world, and I'm really excited to get to the game and see what more chaos can come up with this.
Right on. Christian, I'm afraid we don't have time. I think I might have already got cut off. So if you want to just say anything and be the ender for us.
It does say live.
Yeah,
We're
just
still
say
live,
live.
I think.
Yes. What you got, man? Wrap it up.
I think
Going up first.
I will have my revenge. That's my final words.
Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on This Is Dunder Moose.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.